Rockers, fans, rock fans, welcome back. We're back. MPJ, new rock album review show. And welcome to my panel. Back to Simon, to Will, and to Lauren and to Trish. Today we are reviewing LS Dunes and their new album Violet. We discuss how much listening pleasure we got from it, rate it out of 5, and let's see if it gets into our Hall of Fame or where potentially it might end up in our overall albums. We're coming up to like nearly 500 albums that we reviewed. And hey, if you like what you hear, hit that like and subscribe button, and check out all our other videos and reviews and our interviews as well. Right, Violet. Let's start with the flower of the show, shall we? The bloom that always radiates a wonderful scent of violet. And that's, of course, William. William, what do you think of LS Dunes and Violet?
Oh, the musicality was just utterly beautiful. The vocals took me to another world, and I felt so dulled.
Dulled?
The world was not a positive one. So, shockingly, as my musical growth has gone, like a beautiful flower, flower has, in some people's words, got a bit more thorny, a bit more aggressive, a bit angry, let's say. So this very mellowy, I guess you'd kind of say, kind of rock, kind of like mid-later Arctic Monkeys-y kind of vibes of it. It's not hugely my cup of tea, I'd say. It's just the way they kind of sing. It's a bit... it's fine.
Thoroughly whelmed.
It's fine.
I'm shocked by the fact you thought these were any remotely like Arctic Monkeys.
It's one of the... I can't remember which album it is, but it's that same way of singing, the same way the instruments are being played.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of that to me. It's not like... It doesn't sound like them, so to speak. It's sort of that same kind of style of vocals and the same kind of echoey sort of instruments where they're not really there, but they're kind of like more in the background. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not a musical man in that respect, but it's that kind of style of which I've more sort of grown out of for liking. But it's fine. They're clearly very talented, and if I wasn't quite so obsessed with my angry stuff, I'd love it a lot more. But
well, it's interesting because it's very much a flavour, isn't it, of that. I know what you're saying, because this is like a bit of a mixture between rock, prog rock, and almost punk rock, and those three sort of genres all kind of mixed in, isn't it? Now, what do you think, Trish? Did you agree? Did you disagree? What did you think?
Hey. I wasn't sure how to review this album. I'd not heard of them or knew what to expect. I think the only way I can say it is by saying that I'm on the fence with it. Musically, I like the guitars, the drums, and a bit of screamo at times. But then on the other side, it is quite sort of indie, which normally isn't my bag. It's an album I wouldn't go to out of choice, but I wouldn't turn it off. It didn't excite me, and it didn't make me feel miserable either. It didn't make me feel anything. I feel bad being negative when I am, but like I always say, I respect artists and what they're doing and what they love. I'm not an expert.
Ooh, some not great vibes coming here. Lauren?
Yeah, I feel very much the same as sort of everyone else so far. I mean, again, start with the positives. I know people who would absolutely love this, but it's just a flavour that I've grown out of. There are good tunes, but the whininess of the vocals feel like they lack a bit of grit to it. Like, I know it's a cursed name in the rock scene, but almost if you got like these songs and this lyricism sung by the likes of like a grittier voice like a Chad Kroeger that's more mainstream or something along those lines, I feel like it would just do so much better and have so much more of an impact for me. If it was tweaked, I reckon I'd be all over it, but ultimately it just didn't quite fit right for me. But yeah, I can see where its place is in the market for people who are getting into this sort of music. So.
Oh, okay. Simon, you redeemed, yeah?
Don't put me up to that task. But no. So for me, I'm just going to go on a slightly different tangent, but because to me the vocalist sounded really familiar. So I obviously checked them, and it turned out he was in the original Saosin EP, which was really nice to discover because I loved that EP back in the day because they changed the vocalist for the next album, but he was really good. So it was really cool. But this band is definitely a big departure from that sort of like, you know, early noughties emo style. It's much more melancholic and way more sort of, I guess, modern, if you will. And I feel like I'm vibing with everyone else on this one, which is rare that we all agree to some on this. But it's one of those albums that's enjoyable to listen through, but it never offending, easy listening, but it never struck a chord in your heart. Like, all the parts are incredibly well played. For me, it wasn't until Violet, the titular track, that I felt the album actually starting to pick up. And Forgiveness was the standout track for me. Like, the guitars and the drums got their little moments to shine throughout. The general vibe I got was, you know, it's music being played for the love of music, you know? Overall, it was a pretty decent album, but it's just, it wasn't going to set the world on fire.
Yeah, I think that... Yeah, the thing is with this album, there's a lot of moving parts to it, and there are a lot of subgenres kind of in the mix. So that, you know, sometimes the speaking vocals almost felt punk rock, but wasn't really punk rock. You had that melancholy vibe, which kind of had that prog rock, but it tried to blend in with more of a commercial sound. And there were some at points of this album, I'm going, I should love this sort of stuff, and I never quite did, and it never quite, and I think, Lauren, you're right. I think there's definitely some, you know, a lot of that sort of people who are going to tune into this and love it, and I wanted to love it, and there are certain aspects of I loved it, and it, as an album, it never really quite gelled for me from that score. So yeah, okay. Well, Dom is obviously not here today, but he has kind of voted. But we'll start with Will then. Will, what did you give this?
I gave it a very whelmed 2.
Oh, Lauren?
High praise from Will.
No, not Lauren. Sorry, Trish.
It's gonna change.
2.5.
Lauren.
I also gave it a 2.
Simon.
I give it a 3.
Okay. I give this a 3.5. Trish, get your sound effects ready, because this is a rare treat, everybody. This is never really happens ever, because our Dom give this
No.
a 5.
No.
He gives
What?
Dom never gives 5s. Never gives
No,
5s. It's like blood out of a stone for him to give a 5. And I'm going, you give a 5? He went, this was an amazing album. So, actually, everything that we just said, for a particular type of, you know, there's people out there who are going to love this album, and he absolutely loved it. So there we go. We're going to drop Lauren's 2, because I feel like it. Yeah, so we're going to keep Will's 2, so he's not going to feel so bad about kind of later on. And it got 3.2, which is pretty solid overall. So well done to LS Dunes. Check out their album Violet. Interested about the Arctic Monkeys. I see where that's coming from now. Anyway, please, do you disagree? Do you agree? Hit your like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment. What do you think of it? In the meantime, keep rocking. Tune in for our next, for episode 3 of the March, which is going to be Labyrinth and in the Vanishing Echoes of the Good. Right. Anyway, thank you to my crew. Goodbye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Keep rocking.
Bye.